There was a moment, long before the truth, when she thought she understood her place in his life. It was late. Not dramatic late, just quiet late. The kind of night where the world feels smaller, where even your thoughts speak softly. She was lying in bed, phone resting on her chest, waiting for a message that hadn't come yet. She wasn't anxious, not exactly, just listening. Listening to the silence, to the way her room felt larger than usual, to the space beside her that never stayed filled for long. And suddenly, without warning, a thought passed through her mind. What if this is all I ever get? The thought didn't hurt. Not yet. It just stayed, like a quiet knock on a door she wasn't ready to open. She didn't know it then, but that question was the beginning of everything. Before him, she wasn't broken. She had a life, friends, habits. She laughed easily back then, without checking herself first. She didn't measure her words, didn't wait for replies. Loneliness wasn't a condition, just an occasional visitor. And then he appeared in the most unremarkable way. No lightning, no destiny, just a conversation that lasted longer than expected. He listened. Not the polite kind of listening, the real kind. The kind that slows you down. With him, she didn't feel impressive. She felt received. And that was new. He never asked for more. And somehow, that made her give more. They didn't define anything, didn't label what was happening. No expectations meant no disappointment. At least, that's what she told herself. She liked the way he looked at her when she spoke, as if her words mattered, even when they were unfinished. She liked how calm she felt with him, how time slowed down. This wasn't passion, this wasn't chaos, this was quiet. And quiet can feel like safety when you've been alone for too long. There were things he didn't say, and she noticed. He never talked about his weekends, never complained about home. He avoided certain pronouns, certain timelines, and she never asked. Because questions change the temperature of a room, and she liked how warm this felt. She convinced herself that knowing less meant hurting less. But sometimes, when he stood up to leave, she felt something tighten inside her chest. Not jealousy, something quieter. Uncertainty. It didn't happen all at once. It never does. It was small things. Messages answered hours later. Plans changed last minute. Silences explained away with tired smiles. She told herself this was normal. Adults are busy. Life is complicated. But at night, her thoughts grew louder. She replayed conversations, read between lines that weren't there, and slowly, a new feeling appeared. Not fear, comparison. She wondered who else existed in his life in the spaces she couldn't reach. She could have asked. She thought about it often. But questions carry risk, and she wasn't ready to lose the one place where she felt chosen. Even if it was only sometimes, even if it was incomplete. So she stayed quiet, and silence, slowly, became her language too. She still believed love could exist in fragments. She didn't know yet that fragments eventually cut. She didn't notice when warmth turned into waiting, when comfort turned into calculation, when she started checking the clock instead of enjoying the moment. But something had shifted. And deep down, she knew. This wasn't growing. It was pausing. She didn't remember the exact day it happened. There was no line to cross, no clear moment where things broke. Just a slow adjustment. She began arranging her life around moments that weren't guaranteed. Leaving space in her evenings, keeping her phone nearby, telling herself she was flexible. Waiting didn't feel heavy at first. It felt hopeful. Hope can disguise itself as patience for a long time. She still smiled when he arrived, still laughed at the same stories, still leaned into his voice. But somewhere inside her, a quiet clock had started ticking. She didn't hear it yet. She only felt tired in ways sleep didn't fix. Distance isn't always about space. Sometimes it lives in tone, in how quickly someone answers, in how carefully they avoid certain words. She noticed he no longer lingered, no longer sat in silence with her. Their conversations stayed safe, surface level, predictable. Nothing hurt, and yet, nothing reached her either. She missed the way he used to look at her like time didn't matter. Now, time mattered too much. He checked it often. One night, he left earlier than usual. No excuse, no explanation, just a gentle goodbye. She lay in bed afterward, fully dressed, lights still on. Her mind replayed everything. Not arguments, memories, moments she had treasured, words she had believed. And for the first time, she allowed herself to imagine another woman. Not in detail, just a presence. Someone who received the parts of him she never could. The thought didn't make her angry. It made her very still. It happened on a quiet afternoon. No tension, no warning. They were sitting close, not touching. She said something simple. "I miss you when you're gone." He smiled. And then he paused. Not a thoughtful pause, not a tender one, a careful pause, the kind people use when they're choosing their words. And in that pause, she felt the truth settle. He didn't miss her the same way. That pause was his answer. He never said it. He didn't have to. After that moment, nothing ended. But everything changed. She stopped asking herself if something was wrong. Now she asked how long she could live with it. She became quieter. Not to be polite, but because her heart was tired. She listened more than she spoke, observed more than she hoped. And slowly, clarity replaced confusion. Clarity hurts, but it doesn't lie. The truth came quietly. No confession, no dramatic reveal, just honesty. He told her he wasn't leaving his life. Not now, not ever. He said she mattered, but not enough to change anything. His voice was calm, almost kind. And somehow that was the hardest part, because there was no villain, just reality. She didn't leave that day, but she left inside herself. She stopped adjusting, stopped waiting. She reclaimed her time one quiet decision at a time. No speeches, no ultimatums, just distance. Chosen this time. She understood something important. Love that asks you to disappear is not love. She missed him. Not every day. Not forever. But she never missed who she was with him. She learned to sit with herself again, to trust her own presence. And slowly, life expanded. Not louder, just fuller. She was the other woman. Until she wasn't. And in choosing herself, she didn't lose love. She learned what love should never cost. Love is not proven by promises. It is proven by presence. Silence is never empty. It is a decision. And waiting for someone who will not choose you slowly teaches you to abandon yourself. She learned this gently. And because of that, she healed.